What's good, people? It's Matthew Broomfield again, back with another video. This time I'm trying something new. This is probably the first time you ever seen me on camera. With the small viewers that I do have, I'm just trying something new because in the future I want to expand to something different, and I have plans in the future on things I want to try and things like that. But that starts with getting confidence in front of the camera, which I have no problem with, but you know, I can't really talk about sports behind gameplay all the time. I really want to show my face. This is probably the perfect video to do it for. With that being said, let's get right into it. There has been a lot of things that has been going on in both leagues, but let's first start off with the NFL. Today, news has came out that recently Jalen Smith, the former All-Pro linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, has been released. For a former All-Pro linebacker to get released is very odd, especially someone with the skill level of Jalen Smith. He wasn't necessarily playing bad this year. I believe in one of the games he had like 6 total tackles solo and things of that nature, and he's been doing very well for the Dallas Cowboys defense, which has been a little bit struggling with the exception of their secondary this year. It's very odd that you would cut a former All-Pro linebacker. That I don't think that's ever been done before, unless there's been something behind the scenes that has happened. And truly, that's what I believe. Something behind the scenes happened with Jalen Smith in the organization that causes him to get released this quick. And at least, and the reports also came out saying that he couldn't be traded, so they just decided to release him. Let's just put it in perspective. Like Deshaun Watson, not to speak on his situation or anything, he's been going through some things, and the Texans cannot trade him, or they don't really want to, but they're not going to release him. You don't do that to a player of that caliber, such as Jalen Smith. I mean, that just doesn't happen in the league. That's really unheard of. So in the next couple of weeks, I would believe that something will come out in the reports that will say or hint to the fact that there was kind of a disconnection between the organization and Jalen Smith as a player. If you think years ago too, the Cowboys really made a mistake in releasing Byron Jones, I believe, which he's now one of the highest paid cornerbacks playing for Miami Dolphins right now. This really hurts the Dallas Cowboys in every which way. Dak Prescott is back, so the team has been looking like the Dallas Cowboys of old that's going to win the division, and I picked them to still win the division regardless of what happens. But the defense is really the weak point of that team. The offense can score points and put points on the board at any times, but I believe the defense is really what it comes down to. So that's that. I believe Jalen Smith is a good player. He's probably going to get picked up by some other team soon, hopefully, especially if nothing is detrimental to his decision to get released. But I would see him on another team very, very soon, at the least. But let's move on. In other news, in the NBA, it's been going on for a while. I'm pretty sure you have all been following it. Kyrie Irving decides to not get vaccinated, which isn't a surprise. And I want to make the point clear right now. I don't have a personal problem with that. I really don't get into things on that channel, specifically dealing with people's personal decisions. I believe he has the full right not to get vaccinated if he doesn't want to, but there's a little problem. The state of New York has issued a mandate expressing that if you don't get vaccinated, you won't be working, essentially. They really did it to a lot of the nurses and healthcare workers already, and I believe they're forcing it on the professional teams as well, as their they're employees of the state as well. So with that being said, it puts the Brooklyn Nets into a position, and a lot of the media analysts and news reports have been saying this is a distraction for the Brooklyn Nets, which I agree it is. But it's not because of Kyrie Irving causing it. I mean, Andrew Wiggins for the Golden State Warriors doesn't want to get vaccinated, but the Golden State Warriors aren't forced to make a decision with him, and the government of California isn't basically punishing Andrew Wiggins for not getting the vaccine, so he's still allowed to play at the end of the day. With Kyrie Irving on the other hand, is different. This causes a little bit confusion with the Brooklyn Nets on what to do with Kyrie Irving. A lot of the news articles has been saying they should trade him. And I mean, in anybody's right mind, you're not trading Kyrie, especially not for free. You're not just blatantly shopping him. I mean, he got out of the teams that he wanted. He left Cleveland and he left Boston because he wanted to, not because Boston and Cleveland wanted to trade him. Let's just make that clear. He's that type of player. He has that skill level and that skill set. So let's not do that to him. But with the fact that the government gets involved now, it makes the Brooklyn Nets life's harder to do their job as an organization. Another thing is, they say it causes distraction. It does, because maybe the players might not have a problem with it. Maybe the organization might not have a problem with it, with Kyrie not getting vaccinated or not, and playing half games and losing all this money. But the number one question that's going to be popping up in training camp, or preseason, and going into the season is not going to be, do you think you can beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the 7-game series in the playoffs next year, or do you think you can make it to the championship? That's not going to be the number one question asked. I guarantee you the first question is going to be asked is going to be, is Kyrie decision not to get vaccinated selfish and detrimental to the team? And they're just not going to ask any role player, any bench player, the GM, the owner. You know who they're exactly going to ask, and that's going to be Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Steve Nash as the head coach. And maybe Kevin Durant, knowing his personality and how he dealt with situations, and James Harden, how he dealt with situations, they really won't care too much. But just to be nagged by that will affect their interaction with the media. And we all know how sports organizations feel about players interacting with the media. They feel like that's a requirement. And so if you have the NBA on your back saying, like, you have to answer these questions, you have to be interactive with the media, but the media is asking this question the whole time that really has nothing to deal with the games you're playing, the season that's upcoming. How do you think that's going to put pressure onto the Brooklyn Nets? Especially with the organization knowing Kyrie's history of being inconsistent on his availability. Not saying that's a problem on his end, not saying that's a bad decision, because once again, that's his decision. He can do what he wants. But at the end of the day, the Brooklyn Nets have to make a decision. You can't be halfway in, halfway out. We need you on this team, and as much as you contribute to this team, we're going to try to do everything that we can to keep you until it infringes on our part to run a successful organization to make money. Because at the end of the day, that's all the NBA and the business is about, is to make money and to win games, obviously, for some organizations. So that puts Kyrie in a position. To sum up this whole situation, it just goes to show you that, you know, athletes want to be treated the same as a regular civilian, as per se. Like, they're not regular civilians, which they are. But they feel like they want to get the same respect. And this situation shows them that they truly get the same respect. It may not be shown all the time, but at the end of the day, you're just like one of the regular 9-to-5 people, one of us. Once the government gets involved, you become a regular. You know, yes, the NBA has their certain rules they follow by, and certain rules that you can take advantage of, which as an NBA player, you should be allowed to do. But once New York State government gets involved and enforce these rules, it's very hard for you to outcome this situation, and you become a regular person that works a job in New York City, or state, excuse me. So it really comes down to, will Kyrie be willing to risk his season or career potentially to not get vaccinated? And it's unfortunate that it has to come down to this. Once again, I'm not picking sides in none of these things, but I would love to see Kyrie. I've been a fan of him since he played for Cleveland. He brought the state of Ohio, which I'm personally have a personal connection with. His first championship in 60 years, and that's probably one of the most memorable moments of my life. So I would love to see Kyrie as a player who was influential in those Cleveland series to play on the court again and to be successful with the Brooklyn Nets. But that's that. Let's move on to the next situation. Urban Meyer has controversy. Last Thursday, they played the Cincinnati Bengals, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, if you didn't know. But they played a tight game, but they ended up losing. After they lost, Urban Meyer allegedly decided to stay in Ohio to visit his restaurant and eat at his restaurant with a group of friends and family. But videos were then leaked out after that Thursday night game, showing Urban Meyer under the influence maybe and having interaction with women at the bar. I'm pretty sure you all seen the video. I'm not going to get into depth on what exactly happened. That's not what type of channel I am again, but we all seen what happened, and that caused the controversy around the league. Urban Meyer did issue a statement of apology to the press. He explained that he apologized to his team and his family, and that's not the conduct that he should be conducting as a coach. First, let me start off with my opinion. In my opinion, I believe that Urban Meyer should be held accountable for what happened after Thursday night game, or football, excuse me. After the game they lost, he should be held accountable for those actions as a head coach. That's not the example he should be setting for his team. And that's that. And he should be based strictly off of that. But in the media, especially shows like NFL Live and other shows, they have been criticizing Urban Meyer off of decisions that he made in the offseason dealing with NFL business. And that's where I think we crossed the line at. One, for you to be as an analyst that been in the game probably, or you spent time as an analyst covering a team, for you to bring in football decisions to try to attach them to controversy, that just goes to show you that most of this stuff is for attention for them. And I'm confident in saying that, because what does you signing Tim Tebow have to do with what you did in the bar on video Thursday night? How is that controversy? It makes the news as a surprising shock or a surprising move, but it's not necessarily controversy because it wasn't really necessarily bad. And that's what some of these analysts have tried to do time and time again. They criticize him for the fact that he signed Tim Tebow, which as an NFL coach, and also let's not forget the general manager signs or gives out contracts and things like that, and the president, so, and the owner too, because it's his money. They are involved in with that situation too. So it's just not like Urban Meyer as a first-year head coach has all that power to do that. He can definitely vouch for the guy, but at the end of the day, it's not just his decision. So let's hold everybody accountable there. Also, he got criticized for the trade of Gardner Minshew, or the release of Gardner Minshew, so Trevor Lawrence could be named the starting quarterback. Urban Meyer can name Trevor Lawrence as a starting quarterback because he's the head coach and he believes what's best for his team. He can make those decisions. Nowhere in the book of morals or whatever says that's controversy. I mean, let's just be realistic about it. Also, that wasn't his decision to release Gardner Minshew. Personally, in my opinion, I believe Gardner Minshew should have stayed and been the starting quarterback to give Trevor Lawrence some time to get experience. But once a team drafts a rookie quarterback, you can see the writing on the wall. Let's not be dumb and naive. He's going to start for that team, and that's who they want to go forward with. So, them cutting Gardner Minshew, it may be an unpopular decision, but it's not a controversial one that should be attached to the actions that he had done after the Thursday night game last week. With that point being said, some of these analysts need to just let go of the attention and the fame, per se, which I believe it is, and the ratings, to really look at the game of which some of them have played and most of them have covered for years, and to say, like, look, we need to just focus on Urban Meyer off of the actions that he did this Thursday and his effectiveness as a coach in winning games or coaching. Because a lot of people around the league and that cover the league has been saying, like, he lost close games. Granted, they're 0-4, which they're doing horrible, but they're saying he's lost close games. And they're trying to act like Trevor Lawrence hasn't played horrible. which, I mean, he's a rookie quarterback, so he needs time to develop. But let's not bring in all these other factors, because I don't believe people were talking about Urban Meyer in this sense when he was at Florida. I don't believe when people was talking about him in this sense when he was at Ohio State having success as one of the greatest college coaches of all time. Nobody's going to ever deny that. With that being said, a lot of people may have criticized his move to the NFL because of the college coach opinion and narrative that college coaches usually don't succeed, such as Nick Saban, who went to the NFL and suffered, but he went back to college to be probably the greatest college head coach of all time. But some people were really rooting for Urban Meyer to do well in this league. So let's not backtrack and switch on that per se. And if you didn't say anything on about it when he got hired, it's just funny how you trying to bring up all the situations that he has done as soon as he got hired since he made this mistake now. It's just real funny as I see analysts do. So, I mean, that's really that on that. I mean, Urban Meyer, yes, he needs to be held accountable because there's never been in history that I believe a coach has been in a situation like this and kept his job or anything like that. And there has been successful coaches. And I'm not saying that Urban Meyer may not be the right coach, but at the end of the day, you made actions that were very detrimental to the team, and that may not be able to salvage you leading the team and having that connection with the team in the future to help win games. So we have to focus directly on that. That's just my opinion on it, and that's just the truth to be told here. With that being said, I appreciate you all for tuning in to my video. Like, comment, subscribe this video, and also to my channel. Follow my Instagram page, Truthbetoldsports, for more updates on new content, and also follow my website, Truthbetoldsports.org, for my articles on recent events as well. With that being said, God bless and peace out to everybody.